Welcome to the module number one. In this presentation, we will look into these various aspects, starting with the overview of global trends. To start with, first is digitization. Under digitization, further we go deep down into internet connectivity by 2030. What is the impact of automation, AI, IoT, big data, and growth of 5G. If you look at this chart, this is a report of 2021. Um, as per this report, the world has 7.83 billion people overall, and out of that, around 56% is basically the urban population. And out of this population, 5.22 billion people have unique mobile uh, numbers. Of course, the number of connections are much more than that, but total number of unique connections are 5.22 billion, which is about 67%. Internet users is about 4.66 billion people, which is approximately 60% of the total population. And active social media users are 4.2 billion people, which is approximately 54% of the total world population. And going further down into the overview of global internet use, user base of internet is 4.66 billion people, which is approximately 60% of the world population. The increase is about 7.3%, which is per annum. And in a day, on an average today, 6 hours or 54 minutes are being spent by a average internet user across the world. And out of this total usage of internet, 92.6% people use the internet through mobile phones. By 2030, about 7.5 billion people will have connectivity to internet. This will be roughly covering about 90% of the world's population. If you look at this chart, it gives an idea about how the internet usage is growing over the years. In the last 15 years, starting from 2005, the internet user base was 1 billion people, and today it is already at close to about 5 billion people. And it will cross to 7.5 billion people in the next 8 years, which means that the growth is going to be exponential in terms of internet connectivity. So we can say that now 4G is about covering about nearly about 95% of the total world's network coverage. And as we see, currently the 5G has already started. It's about 10% of the total traffic, and by 2026, it is expected to have 50% of the data traffic through 5G network. According to Transforma Insight, the global IoT market will be around 24.1 billion devices by 2030, generating about 1.5 trillion US dollars in terms of revenue. In the sector of IoT, the big trends in IoT, AI, ML, 5G network is number one is enhancement in the cyber security. That's a big trend which is happening. Integration of IoT in the healthcare sector. More and more devices are getting connected to uh, to the internet, which are used in the healthcare system. IoT of manufacturing industry. More and more sophisticated automation is happening through IoT in the manufacturing industry. The Internet of Things has been adding businesses and organizations in improving their services, providing better customer experience, and having the way for technical development, such as self-driving cars, autonomous manufacturing, robots are all possible due to these networks of connected things. As per Ericsson, by 2022, there'll be 29 billion IoT devices. So, as we can see that more and more technology is going to be part of our lives all across. So, which is why skills which are more human, such as the critical thinking, analysis, problem solving, self-management, working with people, management and communication activities, technology use and development, core literacy, physical abilities. I think these skills will be becoming more and more important as we go along with the involvement of technology continuously in all the sectors of our lives. Of course, we will cover this more in detail in our next segment, which is the 21st century skill. But just to give an overview, the top 15 skills for today and also the future is analytical thinking, active learning, complex problem solving, critical thinking and analysis, creativity, originality, and all these skills are nothing but part of the 21st century skills, which we will see more in deeper level in the next module. This particular chart is basically trying to show which are the specialized skills one can attain, and that can help into what kind of emerging job clusters where somebody can be engaged on a full-time occupation. You can actually pause the video and see this chart little carefully. I'm just moving forward. And this is basically the another table which is actually trying to give what are the upcoming job clusters, artificial intelligence. I think the future is all about data. I think the amount of data we are generating and we are able to handle these data is enormous. And typically the learning agenda are data analysis, computer programming, general statistics, leadership and management, regression, machine learning, big data, Python programming, and so on and so forth. Technology will be adopted in every form of our walk of life. So we have to learn how to adapt ourselves to work along with the technology. I mean, that is the future. So at the center of it, obviously, we have the people, which is the most essential part of any organization or society. And uh, around that, we have all the technology which are going to interface. Some of it already happening, and a lot of it is going to happen as we go along. So all these are going to be a part of all our work life and normal life as well as we go along. So the future, in fact, the future is already here. This is a real picture from a assembly unit in one of the jobs, one of the factories in developed country. Next module is about decarbonation, and let's look at why decarbonation is so important. Under this, we'll see how the conventional fuel system, which is basically fuel-based, fossil-based fuel, how it is getting reduced. What are the alternative fuel for vehicle and aviation? Increase in renewable energy usage, net zero emission target by the world and India. And also, it is something is related is the energy security. So under energy security, we have to understand that by 2030, we'll have 8.5 billion people. Um, and we all know that the fossil fuel will keep on depleting, and the cost of exploration or cost of economical use will continue to grow more and more over a period of time. So already we are seeing how conventional energy, which is diesel and petrol rates are increasing. Apart from that, what we also know that storage transmission of renewable energy is still a area of further development. I think a lot of development has happened, but I think still it is work in progress. And in the next 10 to 8 to 10 years, we will see more volatility in the energy security issue because we are increasing the world population. So obviously the energy requirement only will keep on increasing. One of the studies shows that at the current rate of production, oil will run out in 53 years, natural gas in 54 years, and coal in 110 years. So some of the uh, advanced technologies which are already happening. For example, GE is actually working on a sustainable aviation fuel today, alternative fuel from sustainable source, and they are trying to basically make sure that for future these oils are used instead of the conventional fossil fuel. Now, decarbonation is also very important because if we do not, the temperature rise the way it is happening right now would result in warming well above 3 degrees by 2020, 2100 compared to the pre-industrial level. If we continue as we are, temperature will carry on rising, bringing more catastrophic floods, bushfires, extreme weather, destruction of species. The world needs to halve the emissions by uh, over the next decade and reach net zero carbon emission by mid of century. And why it is so important? Because if we do not do that, at 2 degrees of global warming, there'll be widespread severe impact on people and nature. A third of world's population would regularly exposed to severe heat, leading to health problems and more heat-related deaths. I think we are already seeing across the world how the global warming and the climate change associated with that is already affecting the way in some areas flooding is happening. In some areas, the heat is so much higher compared to the average temperature. So it's a big risk, and if we don't control it, it is going to be a disaster for our future generation. I think 70% of world's economy is now committed to reaching the net zero emission. Solar and wind energy now cheaper than new coal and gas plants in two-thirds of the countries. Of course, India also has made promises, and these are the top promises which India has made to raise the non-fossil fuel-based energy capacity of the country to 500 gigawatt by 2030. So, which means that more investment into the renewable energy to meet 50% of energy country's energy requirement using renewable energy by 2030, reduce the projected carbon emission by 1 billion tons between now and 2030, reduce 45% of carbon intensity by 2030, and to become a carbon neutral and achieve net zero emission by 2070. So the decarbonation and the population growth have also direct linkage because by 2030, as I mentioned earlier, also there'll be, 8.5 billion people. So basically, we are adding little more than 1 billion. They will be needing, obviously, every kind of resources, including earth, food, energy, infrastructure, jobs, etc. And out of that, about 1.4 billion people will be more than 60-year-old. So healthcare will be a big area of concern as well as opportunity. To handle a lot of technology will have to be used in terms of healthcare. use of IoT, use of telemedicine, etc., will become very, very important tool to handle healthcare industry in the future years. In terms of the world demographics, what we know is that across most part of the world, the population is decreasing. North America, Europe, Russia, Japan, China, Australia, all of them are basically decreasing in population. So Africa, Southeast Asian countries, including India, will remain fairly young and growing population. So children born between 1997 and 2011 in India constitute over little 36 crore. This particular cohort will actually have intense competition in every aspect of their lives. So I very clearly see that a lot of younger people from Africa and part of Asia, uh, where populations are actually increasing. So people will actually have to immigrate to places like North America, including Canada, Europe, Australia, Europe, Russia, Japan, Australia, and China, possibly also. We do not know, of course, how politically it is going to shape up, but in technically speaking or theoretically speaking, these are the pockets where possible immigration will happen in the next 3 to 4 decades. So, whether it is the digitization, decarbonation, or the population growth, all these will have direct impact future of careers. Jobs for the future will be directly linked to the challenges and opportunities of the world. I mean, it was always like that, and it will be even more in the coming decades. Each of the global trends will throw up opportunity for young children to choose the area which they like and trying to solve the problem of the world. Please do share your thoughts as to what you think and share your comments and share your thoughts. In the next module, I'm going to talk about the 21st century skills. Thank you for watching, and I welcome you to give your thoughts and share your inputs, and see you in the next module. Thank you once again.